All right, what is up, everyone? It is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. It is Monday. We have a 4-game slate to talk about, and I'm here with Nolan. Nolan, how was the weekend? Actually, now that I remember it,
Oh,
you had a pretty good Saturday morning, didn't you?
it was a good Saturday morning. We finished 1-2 in
Yeah,
the $8. What I don't even know what that tournament's called. It's like 2000,
two-man advantage.
two-man advantage. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I beat you on the very last goal. I was like dreading that empty netter, and then Muzzin got the second assist, and that was it.
I think you had me blocked actually.
Oh, did you have Muzzin
I
too?
think I had Muzzin too. I
Oh,
remember I
okay.
was like, maybe I could get second if something happens, and sure enough, I checked and I saw an Osmo logo at the top, and I didn't put together that was your username, and then you said something about like a nice early slate bink, and there it was.
Nice.
So was that the first tourney win of the season for
It's
you?
my first GPP win of the year. A little mini one. I'll
There you
take
go.
it.
Oh,
It gets the bankroll up a little bit for the rest of the season.
for
So
sure.
hopefully we can take down one of the big ones. But also that highlights the importance of line changes. Like I was surprised that Couturier was owned at 8% in that contest, right?
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
8% of people, and that news broke 2 hours ahead of time. So 8% of people still left him in, and then countless others didn't have that Philly one stack either. So like that's such a huge edge. When something like that happens, even if you're just a casual player and you know like you've got the breaking news and it's like a couple hours before game time, you can get a huge edge in the field.
Yeah, especially if you're multi-entering, like getting a piece of different lines that might be in flux, or like I remember on that slate there was Giroux was centering two wingers, and Giroux was a winger on DK. So
Right.
right, he was centering Van Riemsdyk and maybe what was it,
And
Simmons?
Konechny, no?
The Konechny, yeah. Either way, I mean it was three wingers, and
Mhm.
that's just automatically going to lower the ownership on DK because people like to double
Sure.
stack, and that messes up with optimizers. And some people, if you're not paying attention, if you don't force it in, you're not going to get a lot of that if you are trying to full stack um, or double stack.
That's a
So,
great point. Yeah.
and we also have another one of those tonight. So
And JVR was owned about 15% less than Giroux
yeah,
that game, I think. So people either didn't have the stack or were just like opting for a conservative play with Giroux and Konechny, or were putting Couturier in as well. So those three combinations allow you to kind of get an edge. But definitely, like I was just thinking about that because like I'm not a huge MMEer like you, putting in 150 lineups or however many lineups you put in. Like I'm more of a like 10 to 20 lineup guy. But I think like if you're a casual player like me and you do it for fun and you do it as a sort of like you don't want to, like sometimes your losses can catch up, but I think like one thing you want to focus on is like taking advantage when you have the advantage.
for sure.
And like and so if you think you've got an edge over the field, like don't be afraid to like up your bankroll that day, or like go in twice as much. And if you think you don't have an edge, don't be afraid to not play as much that day.
Right.
It's something like that I've been thinking about a lot lately because I do it a lot for entertainment purposes and just empty and just go in as many as possible. But
No, for sure. That also, like, contest selection is huge, and playing like smaller slates or early slates or late night slates, like yeah, the prizes aren't going to be as big, and they're already not big for NHL. So I get it if you kind of want to avoid those, but
yeah,
those can
yeah,
those can be super soft.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's something you
And like
should
Saturday
take
morning,
advantage of.
people aren't paying attention. Like,
Mhm.
and if you're around your screen, that's another one. If you're going to be around on like a Friday or Saturday night, huge advantage for late swaps because people go out and they don't pay attention to their lineups.
Yeah,
Like, I think thinking about that is a good way to go as well.
yeah, I do. I mean, I try to like pay attention, but there's multiple times where I've forgotten
Oh
or
yeah,
just
for
not
sure. Happens
updated
to all
my
of us,
stuff,
right?
and yeah.
Stuff comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough when you're making 150 lineups. So, or 100 lineups or 50 lineups, whatever it is. It's tough to keep
Yeah.
track of all that. So take advantage when you
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely.
Looks like there's a bunch of people in here, but no one's chatting. I don't know. Is my chat on, or is no one talking in this
No
chat?
one wants to talk to us today.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Of course, he's not in here today. He's on a Caribbean vacation, so he's usually
Nice.
the one that's in here talking, and a few other
That's
guys.
awesome. Yeah, and sorry, like for some reason I wasn't in our general Slack, our premium Slack chat for hockey. So apologies. I haven't been updating. Like I'll share anything that I get in that Slack chat from now on. So if you're looking for any last minute stuff that I hear of, I'll put it in there as well as on
Yeah,
Twitter.
that's awesome. Yeah, this is a great place to find information. I think we've got a lot of really sharp subs and I'm
Yeah,
in there,
absolutely.
and so
That chat's awesome.
Yeah.
Some good stuff in it.
Speaking of kind of the site stuff, we are still doing the 24 days of giveaways. And this week, if you guys didn't see the show on Saturday, I know it was a smaller crew, but we're giving away a free month pass to a sport of your choosing. So it doesn't have to be just NHL. It could be NBA or NFL, and you get a free month of the Osmo.com premium subscription, or you get an item from our new store. It is shop.osmo.com, and all you have to do is like this video, and then we're going to comment something today. So we're going to tell you what that is. I don't know, Nolan, if you've got any ideas.
I'll think about it.
All right. So we're going to give the video a like. You comment once the video is done. So you can't comment live, not in this little chat box here. You're going to actually want to go to the video after it's done. And then let's see. What should we have them comment today?
What do we got on this slate here?
I'm trying to think what something fun is that we can do.
Most shots for?
Most shots for on a team level? You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right, on a team level, we've got 8 teams to choose from. Most shots for. And you can not only do this on this video, but you go to each of the videos at Osmo.com, whether you watch from A to B or the deeper dive or live before lock, and just pay attention to what they're telling you to comment. If you do that and you like the video, that's another entry to win the giveaway. So we're doing that each day until Christmas Eve. So it builds up to the grand prize where we're giving away a $700 value all access premium pass for the year. So you're going to want to keep doing this, try to win these free giveaways, and you keep getting entries into the grand prize. So do that. We're going to do most shots for on a team level. So put your guess in after this video is done. No way he passes on $5,900 Brent Burns, Dougie Hamilton, or Burns. Burns. I mean,
Burns is going to be, Burns is a sweet play tonight.
Burns should be
5,900.
Yeah, he should be the most owned player.
You think so?
I would think that's a stupid price.
That's
And he was just coming up a ton in my crunches, so
yeah. Try to stuff him in as much as well. Like obviously, if you're stuffing in Burns, well, I mean it's 5,900. It's not stuffing him in like when he was like 7K. But if you're putting him in, that kind of forces a little bit more unique lineups. You're not going to be stacking two really high price lineups if you're putting him in.
It's I don't know. We'll see. I think Carlson will certainly have some ownership as well, but Burns
he's only 300 more. Like I don't know what their correlation is. It's probably not good, but I like those guys.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into these games. Talk about each one. Let's do the one on your screen. Penguins and the Islanders. 3.3 implied total for the Penguins. 3.2 for the Islanders. Casey DeSmith against Robin Lehner. And any notes right off the bat here for this game, Nolan?
No, nothing major sticking out. It's all pretty much the same lines. I know that Rust was on Pittsburgh too, but he wasn't there last game. I don't know if that was a late swap or what, or if I missed it. But it's Sheehan on the second line. Rust is down on the third line, and I don't really have anything for the Islanders. I mean, Kunakl might be out. He's a game time decision. If he goes, he'll probably be on the third line, and Ross Johnston will be off that third line. Would be my guess. I'm thinking he's probably out. And that's about it. Same lines, same kind of not super exciting.
Yeah, not super exciting indeed. As far as changes go, we have a 6.5 total. Anytime that happens, it seems like these two teams are involved, or at least one of them. So big total. I would guess the Penguins see a lot of ownership here. The top line, especially just because it's stacked with Gensel, Crosby, and Kessel. It is a good power play spot. Penguins have maybe the best power play in all of the NHL when they're fully healthy. And now you usually don't get 3 guys on the same power play on a line for the Penguins. Like they're always spread around. But now that we've got Gensel on the top power play and skating with Crosby at even strength, it just seems like a really, really well correlated line. Super expensive, but honestly not that difficult to fit in from what I saw. So I may come in a little bit under the field if they get 20+% ownership, which I think they will. But I'm certainly going to have quite a few Penguins. What about you?
What's I don't know. Like I was actually thinking like I'm of two minds. Like obviously Penguins screwed everyone on that slate, or like they were the most high owned on the Saturday slate, and they didn't do anything against the Senators. So sometimes when that happens, I think people get a little bit. People are like pissed off, or they like don't roster that line as much. But at the same time, like I think this will probably be. I'm gonna say the second highest owned line of the slate, and then like. The Islanders aren't like terrible. Like I don't know high danger chances against at home. I don't know what you have for line matching. They're pretty bad in terms of high danger chances against at home at 26th in the NHL, but like kind of middling in all the other categories. So I'm not like I don't think this is like a must roster. I don't know. I don't know what you have for line matching here, but it's like I think it's maybe a worse play than people assume it is.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be highly owned.
I mean, certainly could be the case.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it's obviously a very good line, and you get some correlation with all three of the Pittsburgh one on the power play now too, as well. So I mean, it's probably the second best play just in a vacuum, second or third best play on the slate, but it's pricey and it's going to be owned.
Right. It's not like there's not other spots to go. I mean, we do have Tampa on the slate as well, and they're at home, so maybe they see higher ownership. I think Pittsburgh's going to be up there. Maybe they're off 5 to 10% from what I think, but it's hard to imagine them being any sort of sneaky here. Line matching, I thought originally that maybe we see the Brock Nelson, Lee, Eberle line see the most time against Gensel, Crosby, Kessel, but the Islanders have been kind of switching back and forth. They've been going with some Filppula, shutdown role. I don't know why you would ever want to do that against Crosby, not that they really have a shutdown line here. So it doesn't really matter for Crosby's line, but I would like the Nelson line to see a lot of time against Crosby, Gensel, and Kessel. I don't think that line's going to be good defensively. They haven't been already, and it would mean more minutes for the Lee, Eberle, Nelson line. So
you like that line going against them?
Yeah.
I noticed they've been like pretty decent defensively, right?
The Lee line?
Yeah.
They haven't been terrible.
So kind of like middle of the pack, right?
Yeah. So
49% scoring chances for.
It's just two really good offensive lines that neither of them are great, and I hope they go up against each other because I think there's going to be a ton of chances to go both ways. And I really like that value on the Islanders' top line, so they're going to be one of my higher owned lines as a filler stack because they fit with pretty much everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And like NYI2 as well. Are you in on that? That seems to be getting a pretty good value grade from Osimo.
For sure. Yeah. They're also another solid play. I do lean towards the top line, but probably will have some Barzal, Beauvillier. I mean, I don't really like playing Josh Bailey, but he is on the top power play. So there's some merit in playing him. I mean, I don't really play the Islanders for their power play anyways, especially like the Nicoletti unit. It's not all that interesting. So I like the
Letty's been terrible this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he just hasn't. I don't know what's going on there, but not the same player that maybe we saw a couple of years ago. Boychuk and Pulak are the two guys I really want to target on the Islanders here.
Pulak has pretty good grade from Osmo, and Boychuk is due for some positive regression as well. 68 shots, 0 goals this season. So he's like a nice. I love Boychuk as just a one-off throw-in defenseman because he just like he doesn't seem to correlate well with it. Maybe that's just my personal opinion, but he doesn't seem to like ever be a part of stacks. He just sort of scores when you're like, I got the other Islanders. But
yeah, I think he does block shots at a decent rate. Same with Pulak and Hickey for that matter too. So the Islanders do give up a bunch of shots. So it's
Hickey 2,700. I always, if you need a guy to stuff in there, he's not a bad option.
I like it a lot. And then on the
3,600.
He's
I'm not a fan.
Hickey's 27 on DK.
Yeah.
And then we've got $6,700 Chris Letang on the Penguins. He's fine if you can fit him in. I don't know how you're going to if you go with Pittsburgh one, but like a Malkin Letang mini stack would be something that I'd be interested in, especially if you're going with that San Jose line with 3 wingers.
Though, like, let me just look that up because I noticed like quite often Letang sees very few minutes with the Malkin line. Like he's almost exclusively with that Pittsburgh one and Crosby line.
It could be home games that they're doing that because they use the Crosby line as like the shutdown line.
Right.
So I don't. It probably depends who Letang's skating with. But if he is skating with Dumoulin recently, then you're going to see them at home, especially see a lot of time with the Crosby line, I would think.
Sounds good. Yeah. So Crosby, Letang had 12 to 13 minutes with that line last game, and 11 with Malkin, but that's probably just power play time. Only 7 with the rest of the top line. That's all power play correlation though. So
was that an away game?
Yeah, that was away.
Okay.
There's last
yeah, yeah. So you probably see a little bit more spread around on the road since they don't have the benefit of last change. Anything else you're looking at in this game? Goalies or any like punt defenseman? Pedersen coming over from Anaheim in the Sprong trade. He's min salary. I mean, I guess. But,
yeah. I mean,
I don't know what kind of floor he has.
Pittsburgh 2 is pretty cheap.
Yep.
I don't know if it's a great play, but it's cheap. I think both Islanders lines, you can get them for, well, especially on DK, under 15K for Islanders 1 and under 13 for Islanders 2. Yeah, they're definitely great stack options. They just seem to have been like secondary line stack options all year long. So
for sure. Yeah, I'm treating the Nelson line pretty much as a priority. So they're going to be, they are listed as the top line, but they're just so cheap. But I am hammering them here. At least I plan to.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but yeah, goalies again, small slate. I'm probably going to have exposure to all these guys. I think both Leonard and DeSmith should see decent volume. Leonard more than DeSmith, but both will be in my player pool at the very least.
Do we know who's we don't have any goalies yet, do we, for this game?
Leonard.
Oh, Leonard's confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's.
I saw at least one of them were confirmed. Yeah, they're both confirmed. Yeah. Ready to move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
All right, we've got the LA Kings and the Detroit Red Wings. 2.7 implied total for the Kings, 2.8 for the Red Wings. This is probably the least interesting game of the night, the one with the least ownership. But anything we should mention right off the top for news?
Alec Martinez is out for the Kings. Jake Muzzin moves into his spot in the second power play unit. Kyle Clifford is out. I can't remember off the top of my head who he's skating with last game, but I don't think that's a huge news. I doubt many people were planning on rostering him anyways. Chalowski is on the power play 1 for Detroit, and I think the lines are all the same for Detroit as well. This is an interesting one because, some weird stats here. Like, Kings are last in the road from high danger chances for, 8th at home, and then the Red Wings are 26th in high danger chances for at home and 30th in high danger chances against. So I don't really know. Like, the Kings are a little bit of value here, especially that Kings line 1, but generally this is probably going to be a pretty low scoring, low event game.
Yeah, I think the top 6 for both sides are a little bit interesting. I don't know. That's probably a little bit of a cop out, but
no, it's
it's just like I really like Larkin and Nyquist together. And then Advocator ruins it somewhat, but he is still cheap enough where he makes sense just because he skates.
And that line's had really good underlying numbers so far this year, right? That Detroit won.
I think so, yeah. And then
they'll get last change and probably be able to get him away from Kopitar.
I would, yeah. That's the question too. I guess we don't really know. It's Jeff Blashill, so
yeah.
This guy, he's the worst. His line combos, his matching has been pretty consistent this season. He's going with Larkin mostly against opposing top lines. I don't know. It wouldn't make sense to do it here against Kopitar, even though the Kopitar's line, like, it's not that great defensively when you go by like chances against and stuff. But yeah, I mean, he'll probably see a little bit of both Carter and Kopitar. You'd rather have him go up against Carter, but should see some time against both. I just really like Larkin and Nyquist together anytime they're at home. And then this second line is also super cheap with Vanek at only 2,700. He's not great, but he still can score a little bit, and playing with 2 decent line mates in Athanasiou and Franz Nielsen.
That's a sneaky line right there. Yeah, Vanek, he's getting older and he hasn't done a lot this year, but man, you never know. That guy pots goals out of nowhere. So
he had a couple big games last year with Columbus. I think when he got dealt there.
Yeah, that's right. Like 27. Is he 2,700? Like, he could get 7 shots and 2 goals.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
I mean, he does. I don't know. He does pop for those type of games. It seems like once or twice a season, even in his later years, ever since he's been even with like Minnesota. So
So if you need a one-off play tonight. I think that's great. That line as well, super cheap. Probably pairs nicely with some lines we're going to talk about, or the Pittsburgh one. And then LA. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just LA's depth is not good defensively at all. Carter, with
just
Clifford, the Carter to Foley line was decent, actually really good. But no Clifford now. He's playing with Lipsick, who's not a good defensive player, and Matt Luff. Maybe they could be okay offensively, but not really counting on them for their defensive prowess here.
And Toffoli had 7 or 8 shots or something last game, didn't he? He was, every time I looked, he was getting another shot. So he's I don't know. He's been underperforming all year. And then but he's on the third line, so that's pretty gross. And then Carter as well is probably due for a little bit of regression. He's a career 12% shooter, and he's currently shooting 7. So again, we'll talk about one of these San Jose Shark 3 winger lines. Carter is not a bad one-off play as well, if you need to just kind of put a center in your line, if you're going to go with the San Jose 2 line.
Yeah, so Toffoli, he moved down to the third line, but he's actually still seeing decent amount of minutes. Anytime he's seeing 15 plus, he's usually in play for me. Last year and the year before that, the Kings would have him at 10 minutes, 11 minutes, some games just out of the blue, but it seems like every night he's playing 15, 17, sometimes 19, 20 minutes, depending on who he's playing with. And he has been sticking on that power play, even though it is the second unit. So at under 4K, he would be the other guy that I think we should at least mention here.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as anything below the second line for Detroit, not going there.
No. Jake Muzzin, I think, is a solid play. Gets the power play 2 time. He's 34, 3,600, somewhere in there.
I think LA 1 is going to come up a little bit over-owned tonight for my liking. Just because Kopitar's numbers from the past couple seasons, and Brown's pretty cheap, and then you put all of theirs on the power play as well. I understand it. I'm going to have some, but I just think they're going to pop in a lot of people's optimizers. You're going to see the pros, you're going to see what we talked about with Vegas 1. Were you on the stream the other day? Yeah. So they ended up being super heavily owned and really high owned at high stakes because they were just such obvious value. And I think you're probably going to see that here, even with the low implied total. Maybe some of these pros that play a ton of volume aren't taking into account matchups as much. And if they're going to see the Larkin line, I don't really love it for the Kopitar line. But they're just going to pop on optimizers. I can just see it right now. And just using the Fantasy Cruncher projections early, I just usually run a couple and see what pops up. They were popping up quite a bit. So I plan on being under the field on LA1.
Nice. I also just noticed Ferk is off the Detroit power play, and 2/3 of that second line is on power play 1 now. Hey, Vanek and Nielsen. So that's a really good value, I think.
Yeah.
And the Kings have the... they have a terrible penalty kill, don't they? Or no? Am I dreaming here? I thought they were second worst in the NHL.
74%. That's real bad.
So, third worst in the NHL. So, you could do a hell of a lot worse than Nielsen and Vanek together at that price.
Yeah. So let's see. The Kings power, this would be a good power play spot for the Kings too, because Detroit commits so many penalties, and I think people will see that and see, maybe they might have 4 opportunities, but the Kings power play has been atrocious. Under 15% for the season. So I'm not that worried about the Kopitar Brown I follow line killing me at 5-on-4. So, and I don't love their even strength matchup.
Yeah. Going out east first game of the road trip too, I don't know. I don't know if there's any data behind that, but
yeah, certainly something to look at. And then we've got some defensemen here, again, just cheap guys on LA, Doughty under 5K, and then Muzzin getting some power play time now. Our buddy Jake Muzzin, you going back to the well there?
I actually, I've had him in a couple of my lineups so far today, so why not?
Yeah.
That price. There's a few guys in that price that aren't bad. So
right on the other side, Cholowski getting power play 1 time, 3,400. That's absolutely really nice.
That's a huge play. He's been great this year. Vlasic is always at 36. And then if you really want to, Leddy as well is cheap, even though he hasn't been great this year. But
give me Cholowski all day over Leddy.
Yeah.
So enjoy your 2-goal Nick Leddy game that we haven't seen in 3 years.
I just don't know what happened because he was so good. Was it last year or the year before? He was awesome.
Yeah. I think it was 2 or 3. It was like the first couple of years I started playing DFS. I would just play him all the time. He was cheap and
Yeah, Letty and Boychuk, power play one paired together, I think,
oh
too.
yeah, that was the best. The double D stack. Man,
Yeah.
what happened?
I don't know.
Last year he was good. I don't know. Was he last year? I never.
I don't
used him.
remember. I thought he was because he was their power play one quarterback for most of the year, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just
I don't know
didn't
what
do
his
anything.
underlying stats, but I think he put up some numbers.
He just never shoots, which was my beef with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still not doing that. So,
Yeah,
goalies
true.
here, quick. Jimmy Howard, both moderately priced. Quick, a slight home dog or road dog here, but he's going to garner some ownership again. Just more value on the Kings. I don't think he's that great of a play. I don't think either goalie in this game is that great of a play, but both can be used for correlation purposes if you are stacking one of these lines. I don't think I'm doing much game stacking here.
No, and I think it's going to be pretty low event. I don't think we're going to see very high shot totals, but
Agreed.
that's just my guess here.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Kings 29th in shots for, Red Wings 26th in shots for.
Yeah.
And
they're just dull. Both sides, you know. So
kind of middling for shots against. Oh, Detroit does allow a lot of shots against, so that's something.
yeah,
But-
that's probably due to their amount of times they commit penalties. You know,
True.
you just get peppered on the power play. All right, so next game, and one that should not be dull, we have the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm seeing a 2.8 implied total for the Rangers, 3.8 for the Lightning, so maybe this one has come down a little bit for the Lightning, but I saw it was at or over 4 this morning for Tampa. And anytime that's going to happen at home against a bad defensive team in the Rangers, you're going to see these Tampa skaters be pretty heavily owned. They're the ones that could match Pittsburgh or overcome Pittsburgh in ownership tonight, specifically the Point Johnson Kucherov line. They're expensive, but if you do some creative stuff, if you punt a defenseman spot, it's not even that difficult to fit in. So what are you doing here with Tampa? And then mention any news that you saw in this game.
Yeah, not a lot of news here. I don't think I have anything for this game. The lines all look the same from last game. I'm just double checking everything here. Yeah, all the lines are pretty much the same. So I don't think there's anything crazy. I know, yeah, obviously we have Tampa's pretty big spots here. 5th in high danger chances for as a team. 2nd in power play in the NHL. They're going to be the Tampa Bay 2 is going to be hugely owned, but I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on the Rangers 1, who we have graded really highly, who are cheap and who are probably, I don't think they'll go owned, but
I think they're good.
I don't know.
So anytime you see PP1, I think people will
10%?
be on that. I think 10, 12, maybe they creep up to 15. It depends which stakes you're playing at in the $8 and say is it a $3, $4, 20 max, whatever it is. I think they're probably gonna flirt with 10%, whereas in the larger, the $33 or whatever they have tonight, I think they're gonna be 20% and be possibly one of the highest owned lines, just because it's not a huge total, but people like playing Zibanejad and Kreider. Now Hayes on the top power play. The Lightning don't have a great penalty kill, if I remember correctly, and then the even strength matchup against Point Johnson and Kucherov, while they're awesome offensively, they really give it up on the defensive end as far as being super leaky, give up a ton of high danger chances. So that was the first thing that got me on to Zibanejad, Kreider, Hayes. They're just sticking out to me as a very obvious value, and this is the one that could become somewhat chalky that I want to eat in lieu of the Kopitar line. So I really like Rangers 1. I think you're right on it there.
Nice. Yeah, and then do you find from an overarching if you're not MMEing, do you think a lot of people game stack, or do you think there's an aversion to it and it's less owned than it should be?
I'm torn on this just from a personal standpoint, because before I was just correlating my goalies in every lineup. So the thing that happens when you do that, and when you set a rule in Fantasy Cruncher or whichever optimizer you're using, you are automatically taking out a game stack, and that's not really something I want to do. Like, I think there's spots you should definitely correlate. And on a 4-game slate, game stack, I think on a 4-game slate, you should have some game stacks if you're making a bunch of lineups. I'm not forcing it in like, oh, this is a high event game, but like I need a game stack it. But like I do like Tampa 2, I like Tampa 1, I like Tampa 3, and then I really like the Rangers top line. So I'm not gonna force in game stacks, but I'm gonna come across them organically. So that's what I think.
And you mentioned Tampa 3 there too. Cirelli, Killorn, Miller. Kind of intriguing.
Really intriguing. Yeah, they're going to get this bad Rangers depth. And like Cirelli, Killorn, they've been really awesome together this season. And then I'm pretty sure, I saw something on Twitter this morning. I can't remember who tweeted it, so I apologize. But I doubt the person who tweeted it, whoever it is even watching this. But just like super small sample for this Rangers third line. Actually, not even that small. 55 minutes. They have 67 Corsi for per 60. Looking at their scoring chances, 36, and then over 19 high danger chances per 60. Those are really, really awesome numbers. That's better than Tampa 2. And yeah, they get better matchups at home, especially because the point line goes up against opposing top lines. But they're super cheap. And
super cheap. Power play 2, less than 3% owned.
As a whole, I think they're going to be pretty low owned. It's just not super necessary to go there if you're making limited lineups. Like I think,
but that's if you compare. I don't hate pairing them. Pairing them with
Pitt 1.
Yeah, Pitt 1, or I guess that's really it, or San Jose 1.
I think you even pair them, and this is more of an MME thing. Like if you are playing in the 20 max and you want to do this with 1 or 2 of your lineups, I really like pairing 2 Tampa lines together. And this is something I've seen like a guy like Testosterone has been doing.
So would you do the obvious one and go 1-2, or are you thinking like go 1-3? Because I fit in a Tampa 1-2 stack today with Kincaid as my goalie and Hickey and like Cronwall.
Yeah, I would do it either way. I think my anchor for those lineups, like I want probably Tampa 2 in, so I'd want Tampa 2 with Tampa 3 and then Tampa 2 with Tampa 1. And just see, like, if you go Tampa, like, we could do it right now. But, like, if you 6-man stack, you go Johnson, Point, Kucherov, and then full stack the third line, you've got $6K left for 2 defensemen and a goalie. And now the 2 defensemen can't be from the same team. You're going to have to get exposure to different teams, but you could put in Burns, still get another solid defenseman, a goalie that's likely for the win, or even Domingue, who is 8,300. And I mean, you're getting such a unique lineup, but also one where like no one's gonna have that combination. But it is 2 lines that you really like. So I like that on a short slate.
Yeah, get a lot of power play exposure. Yeah, and especially I guess this is obviously Tampa has the highest total of the night too, so it's not the worst move in the world.
Yeah, not bad at all. Let's see. I'll look that. All right. What else on this game? Do you got any other lines you like on the Rangers outside of the top one?
No, but I think they're rating pretty well for Osmo, right? I mean, I think they're pretty much just contrarian plays at this point, aren't they? Or do you have general?
Well, looking at, it looks like he does like the value of the second line. I haven't looked at his stack rankings just yet, but just seeing
and the third line, both CAs.
Yeah, I like the Howden when he was with VC and Fost, I think. I don't know about Nemestikov there. I didn't know how many minutes they were playing, but they did have some really good numbers with one of those combinations. But I just don't think it's necessary to go there on the road. Tampa Bay has 3 really good lines, so I just don't like any of their matchups they're going to see.
What do you think about a super contrarian Lundqvist NYR1 stack?
That is the way I would do it. So if I am going to Lundqvist, and I don't know what he was coming up for me, I'd have to check after the show. So if you want to know my Lundqvist exposure, just ask me. Anyone watching this, ask me in premium chat. But yeah, he's going to see a million shots. He's the kind of goalie that can stand on his head. So it makes sense, definitely on a short slate.
And
to get
probably
some exposure.
5% owned, 5 to 7%.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I'm not a big believer in goalie leverage, but like the odds that like if the Rangers do win this game, there's a really good chance that Lundqvist is the top scoring goalie tonight.
hmm
So,
Yeah, I think goalie leverage is better if you're not a like 150 lineup kind of a guy. That's my take on it. Like if you're running a few lineups, like Saturday night, case in point against Ottawa, where who was it Anderson in
I think so.
net?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like they won 2-1 in overtime, and Anderson had a great night, and Pittsburgh shut out, or was Pittsburgh one even shut out on that night? I can't remember.
I don't know if they did anything.
But yeah, so like if you're entering a few lineups, I think I prefer to go contrarian rather than fighting it out with other people over like the top ownership. But if you're mass multi-entering, then obviously like Lundqvist can't be one of your core plays, or you will hemorrhage money.
Right. All right, now we got defensemen here. I think there's a couple obvious ones. Hedman, Pionk, power play quarterbacks for the top units.
Yeah.
Those guys I will have very good amounts of. And then McDonough is another one that comes up decently for me for Tampa.
He's pricey though, hey?
Yeah, he's near Hedman, which I don't really like, but
Yeah.
no power play time will get people off of him. And he does have a decent floor at very least.
I've noticed a lot of like sharper players owning Chernak as well. Is that like, have you seen that a little bit, or like they've gotten 10? Him and McDonough got 10 minutes plus with the top line, and their 7-1 home win over the Avalanche.
The point line.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the point line.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cernak and McDonough are going to be used as the shutdown pairing. So that means they're going to use them a ton with Point, Johnson, Kucherov. So if you need a punt there, Cernak, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Domingue, 8,300. I mean, he's just whatever. He's got a great chance for a win. Not a guy that I'm going to be going out of my way to target.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be the most or second most popular goalie in the slate.
Yep. All right. Last game, we have the Devils and the Sharks. 2.8 implied total for New Jersey, 3.3 for the Sharks. Probably going to be Keith Kincaid going up against Martin Jones. The Devils played last night, odd Sunday, Monday back-to-back, but here we are.
Yeah.
They've lost 7 out of 8. You got anything on this game for news and notes?
Just that, like we were talking a little bit about the San Jose lines. They went with Kane and Pavelski and Donskoy last game, and they reunited the Couture Hurdle Meyer line. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
And then so like the website had that, and then a beat writer was reporting something else, I think. And so there's a little bit of confusion going into that. We kind of expect that to happen, and I don't see why they wouldn't. So, but just kind of be aware of that heading into the game tonight. And then the Sharks, like I was looking at some of their Sharks splits. It's interesting. They play like a really high-paced brand of hockey, giving up chances on the road, but only. Sorry, no. I guess they're 19th against at home, giving up high danger chances as a team, and then like third or something in the league on the road. So they're a little bit stingier at home, and obviously they're great on either one when high danger chances for.
Yeah.
And then New Jersey's up there as well, generating high danger chances on the road as well, 9th in the NHL. So this is an intriguing spot with New Jersey on back-to-backs.
Yeah.
And then the only other note I have is just Kane still primed for some positive regression with his 7% shooting percentage, is about 5-6 points off his career average.
Yeah, and moving back with Pavelski and Donskoy, I think for 5,500, if you're looking for a cash play, I mean, Evander almost always in play as long as he's not priced through the roof, and just that price is ridiculous for him when playing with Kane and Pavelski and Donskoy.
He just has such huge upside too. He's just got GPP winning upside. So
every time basically. So anytime he's low owned, he's not going to be low owned tonight. But anytime he is, just as a no for the future, you should always be considering him.
So you're on San Jose. What are we calling it? 2, 1? We're calling that 1. I guess the Couture line, right?
I like the Couture Hurdle Meyer line a ton. I think it's just a little bit better, well-rounded line, but. Yeah,
and they were lighting it up a little earlier in the year as well when they were together.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a pretty high event matchup with Heischer, Hall, and Palmieri. I saw the last couple home games for the Sharks. Couture had been kind of not really taking a shutdown role, but seeing more time than the Pavelski line against opposing top lines. So maybe that will stick, maybe not, but there's no matchup I'm worried about for them.
And that line, like that Hall line, his J line, that's been pretty stingy defensively, hey?
Yeah, I don't know why that would be the case.
Yeah.
But like looking at their last few road opponents, like they played the Ducks last night, the Kings on the road, like they played the Capitals, who actually aren't that great of a defensive team. So I don't know, maybe it's just weak competition.
Eight high danger chances against per 60 allowed.
Yeah. And last year was way more than that.
Yeah. So this might just be like small sample size kind of thing.
Yeah, that's more what I lean towards. I mean, Hall and Palmieri are two really high event players. I don't know if Heischer's taking that next step just yet at being a solid defensive center.
That's a good point, though. Maybe like second year in the league, it's kind of he's starting to get a little bit better. Could be what the difference is.
Yeah, let me see if I can look this up really quick and see what they had last year. Hall, Heischer, Palmieri. And then we'll go on the road. So they played a bunch last year together. Yeah, they played 242 minutes on the road last year. So this is including this year's data: 2017, 2018, 2019 on the road. 33.1 scoring chances against per 60, 14.5 high danger chances against per 60. So
damn.
Maybe they're a little bit better, but I don't expect them to be that much better. Like, that's a huge leap from 14.5 to, 8 high danger chances against per 60.
Yeah, no doubt.
Do you like that line? You like Rangers 1 here? They're pretty cheap.
You mean Devils 1?
Yeah, Devils 1.
Yeah, I think they grade out pretty well as well for Osmo. So like, yeah, I'm putting them in some lineups. I put them in a Rangers Devils stack for kind of like an under-owned, highly graded out value stack. Yeah, I don't know. I think like just because they're on the road and back-to-backs, they'll probably go less home than they should. But other than that, like, I mean, it's just sort of like they're one of the top 4 lines on this slate, or 3 lines on this slate, and they'll be the least owned of them. So I don't see any problem with going to them tonight. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the scoring's got to come from somewhere if the Devils are going to score goals here, and it's just such a high chance that it comes from the Devils' top line here. Like, I don't know. Zaka, Bratt, Johansson doesn't really scare me offensively.
I honestly never go past Devils 1. Maybe that's to my
there's not really a need to, I don't think, on this slate or really on any size slate, because when Heischer and Hall and Palmieri are all together, it's just one stacked line and then not much else to like outside of that. So that's where I'm going for the Devils tonight, and then it's going to be a mix of the Couture, Hurdle, Meyer line. And then I'm going to try to force in some 3-winger SJ2 here, if I can.
Nice. No, are you? Yeah, that's great. Oh, yeah, we were going to talk about that, about how to stack that. So I think going with, if you're going to do that 3-winger stack, that's probably not a bad idea, just because you're not going to get a lot of ownership with it. The question is, obviously, there are no other 2 center lines, I think, on this slate. So you basically have to go with a 2 and a 1 off. So I don't know what you like for that. I mean, it's pretty much any one, obviously. We were talking a little bit before the show about how just having Malkin as your one-off, just because his line mates are so weak in the power play. And then I liked Jeff Carter just because his line mates are a little bit weak and he's on the power play 1, not with either of his line mates. But there are a number of ways I'm sure you could go here. I don't know what your thoughts are for stacking those.
No, those are 2, any of these centers, you've got Carter there for 4,400. And then you're basically just mixing and matching after that. Maybe throw in another 2-man. I don't like having the one-off be a winger or center, but that's the way you have to do it. And looking at what some of the pros I talk about, like Alex, Osmo, Testosterone, Tom, it seems like when there's 3 wingers on a slate, that line mostly goes ignored. Because you really do. If you're using Fantasy Cruncher, you have to force it in if you are doing even strength stacks. So, or even just adding in Couture or something. He has power play correlation with
Oh yeah,
with Pavelski. So
I noticed testosterone as well. I don't know if it was his cash lineup or what, but he was doing some Malkin Crosby stacks very recently, and so like if you did those two with those three, it's pricey, but I'm sure you could fit it in. But
yeah, no, you can definitely do it. They're like San Jose 2. We're gonna call them San Jose 2, I guess. Pavelski, Kane, Donskoy. They're not that expensive with Donskoy being only 29.
Donskoy 29. That's cheap. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts? Like, how do you attack San Jose forward combos with defensemen? Do you pair Burns and Carlson a lot with them, or do you just not do that?
Play them both in the same lineup.
Like pair, like say not Carlson and Burns together, but say San Jose 1 with Burns or Carlson.
There's not much of a preference for me. It seems like from what I like when I dive into the recent games, it's always a mishmash of the defense pairings. They ride each three pretty evenly.
I guess what I meant, like from a macro standpoint, like are you a buyer in of the like 3-3 two defensemen from two different games and then a goal and then a correlation goalie, like, or how often do you go with that 4-man stack with the D?
Oh, I like the 4-man stack. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay. Yeah. 4-3-1 I think is a great way to go. And especially when you have two stud defensemen at different prices, Carlson and Burns. I love that. If it makes sense. I don't force in the correlation on the defenseman here, even when I go 3-3, two even strength stacks, but it is a really great way to gain a little bit more upside, especially if it's a good power play spot and you have the power play quarterback. Yeah. What you got? Anything else on this slate? I know you probably have to head out here in a second.
Yeah, I should probably get going here. I got nothing else on it. Yes.
All right.
I'm intrigued. Like, I think that definitely checking in for those line rushes beforehand is probably not a bad move. So if you're around your phone at 7 o'clock or around your computer, just double check it just to be safe. But other than that, I got nothing.
So we're just gonna head out. We'll just end it right now. I know there's a good NBA slate, I believe, and then we've got Showdown NFL. So people are going to be getting ready for that. If you got any questions on the 4-gamer, hit us up in Slack or Twitter or whatever. You can DM me. I'll answer you. And, should be a fun slate. Make sure you like and comment after this video is done. Comment with the team with the most shots tonight. You got 8 to choose from. You will win an entry into the free giveaway for the 1 month of your sport of choosing of Osmo.com premium access or a piece of merchandise from our new store. If you've seen it, Nolan.
I haven't seen it yet. Do we get shirts? What's going on?
I hope so.
I want my shirt. I want a hoodie.
Shop.osmo.com. So
nice.
That is how you get to it. I will drop that link in chat. Thanks for joining, Nolan, and good luck to you and all of the viewers tonight.
All right, let's take home this big one tonight.
Let's do it.